Life gets in the way, and then you're in a Smudcast. Okay.
Well, yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Smudcast number 844, Most Movies. And thankfully, she's using the actual sentence structure with, upper caps and lower caps. But then she goes, most movies push this, capital THIS, religion in lowercase, and you probably never noticed. So I'm trying to think of films that are actually religious, like The Sound of Music or Sister Act. Like is an overall tone and idea and message about the film, whether it's a comedy or a drama. So that's obvious. So I'm assuming there's like some obscure ones she's got, or maybe popular ones that you weren't even thinking about. And this is where I have the problem. If these sort of people are going to talk about a religion and they're going to like focus in on one scene, it's like, this is the message of whatever. And you're like, yeah, but that's like one part of like 30 scenes. So I don't think that's what the movie's about. And I'm sure some scenes might relate to a metaphor or a parable in all kinds of religious stories. And that's great because I didn't know that. And it's cool to learn about that. So, but she's saying most movies in general. So North American movies, South African films, Japanese. I don't know. We'll
Considering what is on the thumbnail, I would guess it's American movies.
Yeah, which is founded by a bunch of Catholics. So, yeah, I'm gonna assume she's talking about Catholicism. I could be wrong. It could be Hinduism. It could be Judaism.
Yeah, I don't know what's her idea. I mean, if you were to go with overt stuff in terms of religion, that would be like Narnia or stuff like that. But
right. Narnia, that would be a great example.
With the selection that she has on the thumbnail,
yeah,
I have no idea what she is going
let's
to
just go through some of these. These are kind of interesting. Before we start, this is a lady called Taylor Alesia, I think. Alesia, that's her YouTube name. She's got over 230,000 subs. And this video came out 10 days ago and has over 500,000 views. That's amazing. So let's just go through some of these thumbnails, starting from the left. Uncovering a hidden religion in your favorite movies, part 2. So she already did that, I guess, less than 9 days ago. So she's on part 2 already. I guess this one did really well, so she thought she'd do it again. Women's decline of modesty through the years. Okay, fair enough. Interesting topic. How the devil removed Christ from Christmas. Maybe she means generally speaking, like evil media.
And that is an interesting sentence structure. Okay.
Yeah, I'm like the literal devil, or like the bad guys in media. I don't know. Could be one of those.
Yeah.
Christian perspective on Lily Phillips. I don't know who Lily Phillips is.
That girl that slept with 100 men in one day.
Is that even technically possible? 100 men.
Yes.
Jesus. Okay.
It was an organized event.
Must have been. Holy jeez.
Yeah.
Movies you didn't know had Christian themes. All right, that might be generally interesting or intellectually interesting if you're curious about that. How the devil... This is great. How the devil tempts women differently than men. Huh.
I mean, theoretically it's true, but...
The devil did it. Okay. Is dating biblical? Wait a second. Wait. The title of the video is Dating Biblical, and then the thumbnail is Should Christians ... date?
What?
I would hope they would, because they're really pro-family, so if they don't date, what are you expecting? Arranged marriage? Like, what? You just want to be artificially inseminated? Like, what are you going to do, honey? You got to date. Huh. Why I still struggle with anxiety as a Christian. What? What does being Christian have to do with being anxious? Christians aren't anxious at all, really?
Well, I guess it might be like the perceived image of Christians, just people going through life without looking at the hardships that they face.
I don't know. it sounds a little backwards.
It's really weird.
Yeah, you're human first with all the trappings of your personality, whatever those may be, and then you're this group or that group, or you believe in this or that. So yeah, Christians can feel negative emotions. That's normal. Artists I refuse to listen to as a Christian in is that nope, those are asterisks. So it's as a Christian is bold or italicized, I guess, on the title. Fair enough, whatever. I guess that has some meaning there. How to stop being a lazy Christian in 2025. And is that a scene from The Room, or what is going on there in the background? Stop being a lazy Christian. I don't get it. I prayed only once today. I should have prayed 3 times. I don't know. Maybe. I didn't say my prayer before my meal. I forgot to thank God for my hamburger. I don't know. Dating tips for Christian singles. What is this? What, dating differently? What does that mean?
What is going on?
Suddenly I'm religious, and now I have to think of men and women differently. No, you're a person. You don't have to think about religion all the time. That's kind of creepy. Polyamory is on the rise. Seriously? I had no idea. This is news to me, guys. Good luck out there.
I'm guessing it's about, the open relationships and all of that.
I don't know. Okay. Well, we got a little donation there from Zeke Kyle. Thank you, Zeke. Lots of movies revolve around the main character becoming rich and successful, so I'm gonna bet the religion being promoted is Judaism. Haha. I jest. It's probably one of those fringy faux pagan faiths. What's a fringy faux pagan faith? I've never heard of that. Capital Fringy. Is that a person? I don't know.
I'm guessing he meant fringe.
Yeah, that would make more sense.
Oh,
why would you capitalize fringy? Like that's weird. Think. I don't know. There's all kinds of wonderful religions out there, so you be the judge of what's good for you. But this lady is clearly Christian, and she's really into it. So I'm from an intellectual perspective, I'm curious what movies have this messaging, and is that good or bad? I don't know, because I've never studied this before. I don't know how this works. But hopefully her examples will make some sense, and it won't just be this weird focused lens that we get from the left when they talk about socialism and feminism and this and that in your movies. So it could be the same. We don't know. Let's start.
Hi, this video is going to cause you to never look at any of these movies the same ever again.
Okay, slow down here. We got The Matrix, we got The Little Mermaid, we got The Truman Show. Okay. I don't know what Free Guy is. And the other two I can't really see. Oh, Wreck-It Ralph. Okay. This is a good start. We can work with this.
And so many more, because there is a pattern here, and I'm sure that there is a large possibility you've never noticed it before, because I didn't, and it was brought to my attention by one of you guys actually, and it sent me down
So a random YouTuber just said, hey, look at these films, they got XYZ in them, and you ran with it. Okay.
rabbit hole. I believe I went so long without noticing that there is a religion that is repetitively pushed on all of us in movie after movie after movie. And the religious theme that is repetitively pushed on all of us is this religion called Gnosticism. And if you don't know what Gnosticism is, it is essentially putting God in a bad light. In Gnosticism, the concept of God is often complex. But in many Gnostic interpretations, the creator God of the Old Testament is viewed as inferior, imperfect, or even evil.
Well, the whole point is there's something greater than what we're taught, and we don't have the full capacity to know what that is. So the concept... Yeah, if you want to... Go ahead.
What she is talking about is what is also usually called Hermeticism and stuff like that. Yeah. The idea that the God is actually an evil being and trapped humans because humans are gods themselves. And this whole idea, it's kind of going into self-actualization. And realizing, and humans as a whole realizing that they are actually gods, and then freeing themselves of the prison that the hermetic god put them in. It's how do I say it? It's basically the whole thing that is kind of part of what socialism is doing.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I've always been.
So it's this continuous march, changing things, and the stuff like the transgenderism kind of is a part of it. Then transhumanism and all of that. Like these are considered the higher steps.
Okay.
That they are above a regular human.
They
are more actualized.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember when I was doing world religions back in high school, that it was this concept that Christianity is like, well, everything's good because God made it. So, but Gnostics is like, well, not everything is good. There's something greater than what you're taught, and it's unknowable, and you have to learn to get outside of that in this sort of pre-Christian sort of concept. And it's more like a Buddhist concept than it is a Christian concept, I guess. So it's something like you can never know the true world, and it's out there, and there's things beyond your understanding. You can never learn because of your humanity, and the world is inherently flawed and all this other jazz. So I don't think that's totally contrary to Christianity, but there's obviously some incongruity.
I mean, what she's using here is basically the actual the small g Gnosticism. I think that James Lindsay actually explained it relatively well. If you discard what he has been doing for the past few months on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
The previous stuff that he was talking about, his videos about Gnosticism are very, very good.
Oh, good stuff.
Because they kind of explain this whole thing, this whole idea, and also touch on the fact that this is a very, very, very old thing.
Yeah.
That this has been happening way before Christ even.
Right.
That. This has very deep roots and somehow is surviving.
Interesting. I did not know that. Okay, let's continue.
Response to the material world, which is seen as inherently flawed. It's the belief that God is a tyrant, and he put Adam and Eve in this perfect paradise, but he was really keeping them ignorant about the world outside the garden and keeping them from knowledge and evolving to be like gods. The belief is that Lucifer was an angel of light that came to set them free, to enlighten them by helping them get to the fruit of knowledge that would make them reach a higher state of being. Now, there may be a few of you rolling your eyes at me, but I would love to show you what I found going down this rabbit hole that made it that I cannot unsee what I see.
I get a feeling she's never read a world religion book in her life, and she just was only taught Christianity. It's like, what is this G word I've never heard of before? Yeah, I think this is standard education in most people's worlds. That you go to school in high school and you teach world religions. You just get a little taste of everything. So
I guess it depends.
Where you grew up.
I know that for me that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
But the Christianity is the dominant religion here. So
yeah, but there must have been like a world cultures class or something where you learned about like other.
No, not really. But that was everything, kind of in your own time.
Oh, really?
If you wanted to learn stuff like that, you
Interesting.
basically had to look for it.
Interesting. Yeah. I remember covering this in actual religious class, philosophy class, and geography. Believe it or not, we had cultures in geography. So,
I mean, we had some stuff about this,
Yeah.
but we never really got deep into it. So we had things about the mythology, the Buddhism, and the like on things like history usually. But that was very, very surface level. We never got any into the actual philosophies behind the religions.
Okay. All right.
And then after hearing all of the things I found, you can come to your own conclusion. Is the same story being shared over and over and over again? Is there an underlying message that we are missing? Are we all secretly being fed the idea that God is inferior, imperfect, and evil? And if so, why? Let's dive in.
Okay, so she just combined the concept of stories being repeated, which has nothing to do with religion. It can. It doesn't have to. But and then she closed off, is God evil? It's like, why are we even asking this bizarre question through media, through storytelling, through metaphor?
Well, theoretically, it's part of the point she's making, because as I said, in the Gnostic belief, the one God, the Abrahamic God, whatever you want to call him, is the evil force that has captured humans and is not allowing them to realize their actual potential. So theoretically, if you look at it from this point of view, what she is saying kind of makes sense.
Okay.
Before we dive in, I just want to give a quick shout out to the person that brought this to my attention, because their channel is amazing and has taught me so much about this topic. And they have even deeper takes on this. If you want to go check them out, I highly recommend. The channel is called Little Light Studios, and they truly helped me create today's video. Okay, so every single movie that I have pops up on the screen right now, they all share a common theme, and the common theme being a perfect world, but the creator of the perfect world, or the one in charge of the perfect world, is evil. We are gonna start off with the children's movie Wreck-It Ralph. I'm gonna wreck it! Not to mention, has always been one of my favorite animation movies ever. And watching it possibly 30 times now, I never noticed any of these Easter eggs. In the Wreck-It Ralph movie, we are met with a perfect world called Niceland, and a man lives there who goes by the name of Fix-It Felix. Felix is loved and adored by all the citizens in Niceland and lives in a penthouse in the clouds. Not to mention that Fix-It Felix is a carpenter who has healing power, who got his magic hammer from his father.
If you've got a magic hammer from your father, how hard can it be?
And who also has resurrection power.
Hey-yo, everybody! I'm okay.
Very similar.
It's a video game movie. That's it. That's all it is. Don't. Is she seriously think this has anything to do with Christianity?
She's probably just looking way too deep into it.
Yeah, this is.
She found some points to that fit with the whole concept of the ideology and all of that, and then decided to look for the stuff to confirm it. It's not the very good way of going about such things, but hey.
Okay, this is...
It's making videos on YouTube.
I know, this is like, okay, honey, you can make all kinds of string connections to things you believe in, but that doesn't mean that's what they did or what this story is about.
I will just tell you one thing. If Whisp was here, we would be 1 hour deep into a tangent. So.
Yeah, I know. I guess we're okay.
Wisp has way more knowledge about this than me. So.
Similar to Jesus in the Bible. And then we are introduced to another character who is not welcomed or loved by the citizens of Niceland, and his name is Ralph.
My name's Ralph, and I'm a bad guy.
He wrecks the building in Niceland, and thankfully, Felix is always behind him cleaning up his mess. And every time Ralph gets to the top of the building, he is repeatedly thrown back into the city dump where he lives. So now we have Ralph in the city dump looking up to Niceland. And throughout this movie, you are led to feel very sorry for Ralph, even though he is a bad guy. The entire movie, you are basically saying, dang, poor guy, poor Ralph. Sympathy for the devil. And throughout...
No, he's just the main character in the story of the movie with his name on it. He's not a devil. What are you talking about? Maybe an anti-hero within the context of his story, but not to him personally. He's just a guy in a video game.
Yeah, she's not really looking at it from the point of, looking at the movie, but rather taking the ideology and all of its points and then applying them onto the movie. So theoretically, in that way, you can do this to a lot of the movies.
Oh God, that's gonna be horrible.
Way more than it's
Yeah, I would never think of Ralph as the archetype of the devil. That does not make any sense.
Yeah.
Again, reading too much into video game logic.
Yes, definitely.
I wouldn't even go so far as video game logic. It's just the story. It's just a story about a guy who does this, and this is what happens to him. He's not the devil. Anyway.
This movie, you will see that Ralph truly wants to be good, but he just can't be. We see him at a meeting called Bad Guys Anonymous with literally Satan himself.
Happy anniversary, Ralph.
Thanks, Satan.
As he goes
Oh
on
no,
to tell
a joke.
It's Satan. Oh my! It must be the Antichrist. Like, no, it's just
No, actually, it's Satine.
Oh yeah.
That's the joke that's literally the joke they make because it's just because funny, because joke.
All right, we got a super chat. We got some donation going. Here's some Frog Jupiter, sir. Thank you for the 2. This is Hollywood. There's something unholy there. I mean, that's a good, funny comment to make. Yeah, there you go. It's Hollywood. It does whatever it wants. Okay. And liter of salad medium Coke. Liter of salad medium Coke. I don't know if that orchestrated an image in your mind of salad in a liter bottle of Coke, but that's what happened to me. Okay. First, I would like to thank the fish from American Dad for being a guest on Smudcast. Okay.
Klaus?
Secondly, I bet this is going to be a less fun version of a schizo post on 4chan where Gnostics run Hollywood instead of Jewish pedophiles. Well, we don't know where she's going with this outside of her love of Christianity, so we don't know exactly. Let's find out.
one to be good. And then they tell him, Ralph, you can't be good because you're bad. And that's okay because it's okay to be bad. You will never be good and that's not bad. In other words, just be yourself. Embrace sin and embrace the bad in you.
I am bad, and that's good. I will never be good, and that's not bad. There's no one I'd rather be than me.
Then in the next scene, it furthers the point of Ralph being depicted as this Satan-like figure, as the serpent in the garden with Adam and Eve. We see him offering the red fruit to a snake and these other demon-looking characters. The name
Hubert is a demon look. What? No.
Looking characters. Okay, that went off of a deep end.
Let's try that again.
Like figure, as the serpent in the garden with Adam and Eve. We see him offering the red fruit to a snake and these other
these are Hubert characters. As far as I remember, Hubert. That was a long time ago, but the snake is part of Hubert. I don't know about the other ones per se. Probably the same game as Hubert. And cherries were a power-up in Hubert. So I don't know. I don't see the analogy. I'm sorry. I don't see the parallel between this and the Book of Genesis.
Yeah, I can already see that this is why people do not take the whole Gnosticism stuff seriously, because of things like this, when it's ascribed to things that are completely innocuous.
Yeah, it's if you ever play Hubert, you can you could jump off and collect cherries, I think, and you land on a flying disc, something like that. Anyway.
Demon-looking characters. The name Ralph is also derived from the Norse, and it means wolf. Then we are met with a scene.
What is your point? It means wolf, yeah, and was this supposed to mean something in Gnosticism or Christianity or something, or just Norse? We can define names like crazy and find meaning there, but what's your point?
That portrays Satan's words in Isaiah. Ralph makes his way up to the penthouse door and enters into a party that is going on in Niceland. He gets into an argument with them, destroys their cake, and says that he is going to get a medal like Felix has, and it will outshine any medal that Felix has, which is a very similar scenario in Isaiah 14:14, where Lucifer tells heaven, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like thank the Most High. A little later in the movie, as Ralph embarks on his quest to get a medal to be better than Felix, he finds himself in a candy paradise, and he lands by a
So he's in another video game is what she's trying to tell you.
Yes.
Okay. A candy paradise. Where are we going with this?
tree in a candy garden where he meets a girl and he lies to her about who he is.
You're not from here, are you?
No, well, yeah. I mean, not from right in this area. I'm just doing some work here.
What kind of work?
There's some routine candy tree trimming.
Is this story sounding familiar at all to you?
No.
This girl who goes by the name...
What was it supposed to sound like? Does anyone know? Did Isaiah climb a tree and meet a... Like, what's happening?
She's reading too much into it.
Yeah, theoretically she's, the whole Garden of Eden and Eve story.
Really?
The serpent and all of that, but...
I don't see it. I'm sorry, honey. I just do not see it.
Yeah. This is the problem where people who do not think about the religion too deeply try to get into it without proper understanding of the foundations and their actual place in it. They just start looking for some magical things. She is an example of person going fully into the deep magical thinking.
Yeah, this is no different than someone who's using feminism or some sort of material dialectic and going, well, here's a Marxist theory that if only they did this in the story, they could have found their utopia or something like that.
It's like, finding something new and then deciding, oh yeah, now it all makes sense. And then you start going this way without even considering where it started or anything else.
Or where it came from. This is silly. This is not
a
religious movie. It's not supposed to be or a spiritual movie. It's supposed to be a guy who is trying to change his fate. And he does that by going on a quest.
Theoretically, a movie doesn't have to be religious to have certain undertones, but the way she's looking at it is just wrong, because, as I've said, this is magical thinking. This is not someone who is very thoughtful about this, who looked kind of inwards first. It's a person who found something on the outside and then decided, oh yeah, maybe it goes this way, maybe it goes this way. And any new information just moves this person along the lines.
Yeah.
Vanellope grabs the medal that is found hanging on a branch. The medal that could help make you like Felix, symbolizing the fruit of knowledge. And it's in this moment that we see Vanellope glitch for the first time. Vanellope has a defect that is making her glitch, and if she is caught glitching, she will be thrown out of the game by King Candy, the ruler of the candy paradise. Much like Ralph, Vanellope is desiring to be accepted just as she is, glitch and all. King Candy ends up arresting Ralph and tells him that bad guys don't win medals, and he explains to Ralph that if Vanellope stays in the game with a glitch, then she would have their world destroyed. Guys, is this sounding familiar? Since sin has entered into the world, God needs to destroy the world and rebuild.
Vanellope was already glitching because of what King Candy, aka Turbo, was doing. What are you talking about?
So wait, is King Candy Satan in this story?
No, because he would be, but okay, to explain the whole thing with him, and the movie itself also explains it. The fact that the King Candy is actually not who he seems. It turns out he's a character from a different game that was shut down because he wanted all the glory for himself.
Oh.
He was originally Turbo, the main character of another game that got shut down, and because it was shut down, he felt like he still wanted all the glory, so he went into another game and changed everything, which made Vanellope glitch because she is actually the main character of Sugar Rush.
Okay, so
But he changed everything because he still wanted to be number one.
She's trying to say that this is a Gnostic story because the guy in charge, the good guy, who is God or King Candy, ends up being a bad guy or something along those lines.
Something like that, but no, it's just because Turbo did what he did because he still wanted to be the best racer in the gaming world.
Okay, all right, I think I got it.
Other racers even confront Vanellope and tell her that glitches can't race, and that the rules are there for a reason. They are there to protect us.
The rules are there for a reason, Vanellope. To protect us.
Which is accurate. Sin is the reason for the pain, hurt, and heartbreak that we all experience here on this earth. And the commandments are there to protect us from the destruction.
Oh, I hate these people.
If anything, the sin was committed by Turbo when he changed everything in Sugar Rush.
I mean, this is also a flat-out misunderstanding. Because this is once again going along the lines of the commandments are the things that you are not supposed to do. No, the commandments are the promise. You will not do this once you actually mature. Once you actually find that love of God and all of that. Those are promises. This is the way you will live life in happiness. And this look of, oh, you don't do this is very simple-minded, and of course some people need it. But if you start going around preaching it, you just come across as a very forceful person that nobody likes and everyone wants to go against.
I was going to say I hate people who write in books, especially holy books, but you know.
Oh yeah.
It annoys me whenever I take something up from the library. It's like, what the hell? Anyway, here's 2 super chats from the Threadnought. Thank you, sir. Her sin was that a man several years older than this child violated her. That means she's a sinner and therefore evil. Okay. I'm not sure how that relates to what's going on in the presentation here. Again, no Ginga. There was a new game more popular than his, but he entered the more popular game and got both that and his own game shut down.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's because, Sugar Rush was put in, and it got his game shut down. But before it got shut down, Turbo went into Sugar Rush. Okay, yeah, thank you. It's like, my bad for getting the details mixed up. But still, that is still the general idea.
I got you. Okay, great. Good. Thanks for the heads up. Nice to get clarified on the happenings of the plot and the story. Wreck-It Ralph, who is a wolf, by the way, whatever that means.
Which the first Wreck-It Ralph is still pretty good. It's not. It's like it's not anything unique, not anything. It's spectacular on its own, but it's still a pretty decent movie.
Cool. All right.
Our lives. But in this scene, the ones who are teaching to keep the king's rules are portrayed as the bad guys, which gears our sympathy towards the girl.
They're what we call the antagonists, not the bad guys. The protagonists can be bad guys. They can also be good guys, but they are against the opposing force called the antagonists. That doesn't mean they're good or bad necessarily. It's like, I have a differing opinion than yours. Oh, you must be the bad guys in the movie. No. Just a different perspective.
As I've said, it's basically she learned about the whole Gnostic thing and then decided going into it that everything that fits has to be the Gnostic idea.
Yeah.
And basically went along with this.
We could have,
That's the whole shtick of this video.
we could do the same thing with socialism. You know, you don't know your place. You're not working within your means. You're exceeding them. You're not supposed to do that. Blah blah blah. It's like, oh yeah, Wreck-It Ralph should go back to what he's doing. He's a part of the cog in the machine. He should keep doing that. But he's not. Blah blah blah. Yeah, we can go with all kinds of analogies and philosophies to have this lens. I don't mind her using a lens, but she's missing the context. Or she's not using she should be saying both. Like, these are seen within the Gnostic view as villains, but in reality, in the story, they're just the things she's against or in her way, or reiterating the things she doesn't need, and she's trying to change and challenge. That's it. I think we need that sort of storytelling knowledge to back up whatever she's saying or to support whatever she's saying. Because if you don't have that, you're up in the air somewhere in the ether, and you're like, oh, it could be Gnosticism. You're like, give me something solid to work on, please.
The problem, I would say, is not even, and it's not exactly even that, because you say it could be. She is saying that this is Gnosticism.
Yeah.
She is putting the dot on there. This is not a guesswork for her. This is her finding stuff out and pointing it out.
Yeah, and this is a film she's watched 30 times over, and she's like, yeah, I love this film. And then, oh, wait a second, it's evil. It's like, okay, sure.
Girl with the glitch, the girl living in sin. It's because of the glitch of sin that the world will be destroyed. But in this twisted version of the Bible story, we see that sin is rewarded, that it was a good thing. And of course, the king is painted in a bad light. A king who wants to do nothing.
Because he's a villain. He's supposed to be. What? The villain is portrayed in a bad light. It's like, I hope so.
And this is the kind of problem that you have shined the light on, which she basically does not really understand what this plot is about, and then ascribe stuff.
Like, think of it,
see, even in a wrong way.
Think of it without any of this nonsense in your head. No expectations, no religion, no Gnosticism, nothing. Just hey, Ralph wants to go do a thing. And he wants to, go over there and do a thing over there, and they're not letting him. It's like, okay, is he allowed to be there? No, why not? Because of these rules. Like, is that good or bad? You can make that choice of what you think Ralph is as a hero or an anti-hero or just a guy, an agent of change. He could be whatever, and you can see it as that. But when you take a step back and say, what is this story really about? It's about a video game character trying to be a different role. And that's just what he wants. What if these characters were real and had their own sense of worth and value and they wanted to grow and change? What would that be like? And this is all based off, I'm trying to remember the name of that game that Ralph was based off. You play as Godzilla, I think, or a version of Godzilla and King Kong. And you just break buildings as fast as possible. So they modeled it after that, and they gave it some humanity. Say, hey, let's give him a persona of him wanting to better himself in some way. And the world around him is against that because it's a video game. It works off logic and design.
Well,
anyway.
The thing in here is that let's just throw out some of the stuff. And in the beginning, you could say that her arguments kind of fit. But in here, she's looking at something that looks positively evil and saying, no, it's actually the other way around. She is looking at something that is contradicting her point and saying, no, what you see on the screen is not true. It's don't believe your lying eyes, but from the opposite way. It's I think, just a symptom of not being very well versed with media. Just trying to ascribe stuff that just isn't there at all.
I would say it's more of a general understanding of reality. There is a lack of, I wouldn't say maturity, although I could argue that, but just like looking at life and going, wait a second, what is existence? Well, since I believe in this religion, it must be that. I'm going to keep saying that, even though the back of your head's going, well, there's more to the story, honey, than just your religion. And you can't explain the universe with God or whatever. That's why we have a brain. Solve problems, not to say, well, God has a plan, and that's all there is to it. Mm-hmm. And seeing devils in everything is just ridiculous now.
Nothing destroy the world with plagues. I'm sorry, guys. There is just way too much in this movie for this to be a coincidence.
What are you talking about? Coincidence of what? What are we talking? Because you use the word plague. What plague of what? What's happening? So anyway, part 2, Sophia, the Greek word for wisdom. I'm sure she's an expert at that concept.
Okay, our next examples are going to include this popular character that is involved in Gnosticism. In Gnosticism, there is a character called Sophia, who is essentially the feminine version of the serpent in the garden. The serpent who came to Adam and Eve and basically said that God is this terrible, tyrannical dictator who put you in this prison. And if you eat the fruit, you are going to become wise like God. And that God is keeping you from obtaining true knowledge and becoming like him. Gnostics believe that the snake in the garden was a good thing and that Satan was ultimately the hero. And throughout movies, time and time again, we get to see this Sophia character essentially waking up the main character of the movie, who is in a controlled environment. I won't go as in depth as I did with Wreck-It Ralph, but here are some examples of movies that portray this Sophia character time and time again. In The Truman Show, we see Jim Carrey, who lives in a perfect world where nothing goes wrong. And we also see an outside world that is watching his every move. Truman finds the edge of this fake world and a man in the sky named Kristoff, and
What have I walked into here? How deep in the Dead Sea Scrolls are we?
Gnosticism.
So is
Very surface level.
Is Bruce Almighty now in a fake world or in
No.
a perfect world? Which is it?
Is that
Was you talking about Truman Show?
Yeah.
Yes. I tried to make it a
I
joke.
know.
But is the Truman Show main character now in a perfect world or in a fake world? Which is it? Because the fake world is a bad one.
Usually we use this in philosophy, the parable of the cave. We don't jump into religion and go, well, obviously it's about God. It's like, no, we don't do that because that's silly. So
The female characters don't represent Sophia. They represent Eve. Because Eve had eaten off the apple first. The dumpwind.
Well, when you're using a lens like this, you have to be very careful what you're talking about. And she's just running through the guardrail. She's like, it's just religious symbolism. You're like, no, it's not.
You see, the problems, for example, with Gnosticism is that to explain it in a way that not that completely, but kind of makes sense, it takes you at least 2 to 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And what she's doing here is saying, oh, this. Believe me, that is true. And it comes off as insane.
Well, she's saying the guy's name is Kristoff.
Very stupid. And she's also making very stupid assumptions.
That is an insane thing to say because his name is based off these first 6 letters.
She also put a lot of words into the snake's mouth. In at least in Genesis, the snake doesn't say that much.
All right, let's see where she's going.
Kristoff speaks to Truman from the clouds and says, "I'm the creator."
He has a speaker, but okay, never mind.
I mean, you can actually make the argument that for a simulation theory movie, which in a way the Truman Show is, yes, it is the Gnostic fake cage world that torments this one soul in particular. But that also requires you to have main character syndrome.
Of a television show.
He says that he's watched Truman his whole life and built this perfect world for him, and there's nothing outside that door to utter darkness except pain. Truman rejects the man in the clouds and steps through the door to outer darkness, and all the watching people cheer with joy. We also see him.
So wait, is that a bad thing under your perspective, or is that
so she's not trying to put it into a bad thing, as she's trying to see the bad version in everything, when really, yes, this is a Garden Eden story in a way where the main character figures out the way into the outer world, which is harsh, which is not controlled, because that is what maturity is about.
Yeah, it's
Adam
the
and
escape.
Eve, the Adam and Eve story is about maturation.
It's the escape from the cave and revealing the truth. And you say, and choosing the truth. This is the same idea with the Matrix films. Choosing the red pill. Choosing to get out and fighting for your freedom. That's
Well, Cypher wanted to get back in because he liked the coddled illusion.
right. There's the villain, or one of the sub-villains, I guess you could say, of that story, that he was like, yeah, I don't care about all these beliefs and importances of humanity or psyche. It's like, yep, doesn't matter to me. Just make me comfortable. That's all I wanted.
Putting his arms out in like a crucifixion pose, stepping out into eternal darkness. Truman chose to turn
Eternal
away.
darkness? What is this?
She'll make a wonderful Christian mom who'll hate video games.
I guess.
Yes.
She said
As
she
I've
watched
said,
that film
she
30
is-
times.
What?
No, Wreck-It Ralph,
I mean,
I think.
I like
I
the
think it's
I like
Wreck-It Ralph.
I like the film. I also like Wreck-It Ralph, but I don't think I could watch it 30 times.
I mean, as I've said before you got here, Wisp, she is one of the people that basically only sees the surface level.
Yeah,
And finds stuff and then thinks that, oh, maybe this is connected and this is connected before looking inwards.
Yeah, I think we found our new Anita Sarkeesian on the religious side of things.
It's finally a new flavor.
This is religious craziness
I think
and
the
films for no reason.
The only movies I have seen more than 3 times, and 3 is already a high peak, are The Lord of the Rings, obviously.
Oh,
V for Vendetta, because that's a yearly thing. And Krull, which I watch every year on the hottest day of the year. Because somehow that is the same thing to me.
Well,
It's this excruciating ancient hell. What's Krull?
okay.
Krull is awesome.
All right. We are more than halfway done, and it's getting bad.
You mean good?
From
Yeah,
finding
no,
out
everything
the
is
help of
inverted.
our Sophia character. This woman right here, who is
That was Eternal Darkness. Yeah, there it is.
trying her hardest to tell him that he's living in a fake reality and needs to break free. In the movie Smallfoot, we are again met with this perfect world. We are met with this perfect world where nothing goes wrong and everything is amazing, going back to the Garden of Eden.
And the best part,
Really?
everyone's happy. That's because our world is built on a foundation of stones.
But then
It's one
you
of these
find
Dr.
out that
Seuss
it's not
movies?
such a perfect paradise. And we are met with our
Thank-
Sophia character once again. And I'm just gonna sit back and let this scene expose itself. Take a look.
Michi?
Welcome. I'm really glad you're here.
These eyes make me sick.
This place exactly?
The secret headquarters of the SES.
And hold on, you're the leader. But you're the Stonekeeper's daughter.
Look, I love my father, but he isn't exactly what you would call open to new ideas.
Because questions lead to knowledge.
And knowledge is power.
The Stone Keeper's daughter. Essentially, she is saying, my father, God, he's not really open
wait.
to new ideas.
What?
The leader.
How-
The
How is
God.
how is the Stonekeeper equate to God?
It's rather the other way around.
Okay.
That this is this thing about life imitates art, art imitates life. Religion is the same way. That's all, and she's just going overboard with everything's a religious metaphor. No, it isn't. It isn't. Go back to synagogue.
I don't think she has the intelligence for that.
Do girls go
Yes,
to
he doesn't-
yeshiva?
No.
See, that's the problem.
New ideas are about knowledge. Again, the insinuation of the serpent that God is keeping something.
Wait. She was just onto something there. New ideas are about knowledge. It's like, okay, do you want to pursue knowledge, or you just want to live in your little religious world where everything's an analogy to what you believe in?
Isn't it the whole idea of creation a thing of a new idea? Because if you don't have it, you can't make anything.
I'm wondering why she said that, because it seems very profound, and then she just changed topics again. Like, okay.
I don't know. I think she is Sophia. and she wants to, or she sees herself as that, and she wants to wake us up from our Plato's cave.
Can you imagine? Yeah, can you imagine her staring into the mirror like at herself for hours? It's like, who am I? What religious symbol am I?
It would just end up in this meaningless scene of race Palpatine.
Oh.
Of repetitive hers, and she realizes in the end that she is nothing.
Oh God.
That's exactly what she's going to say.
Taking away all the fun. Again, we are met with the perfect world in the Lego movie.
Everything is awesome. Oh my gosh, I love this song.
Everything is awesome. But again, it's not really perfect. Thanks to our...
So, wait.
So is it perfect or not? You have to lead with that properly and not just say it like this.
So it is the Garden of Eden, but it's not. You're like, okay, then what analogy are we working with here? Give me something.
The Garden of Eden is not the same as these control societies.
Yeah.
The Garden of Eden is the household of your parents. That's not the same thing as a control society that keeps you down or in eternal bliss in order to use you. It's not the same thing at all.
We are at 12 minutes, and what's happening? I don't know exactly.
Sophia the serpent, who saves the day and becomes the hero by exposing how evil their creator, Lord...
That's the serpent, you numbnut.
Wait a second. Is she trying to say that every story is Gnostic because the rebel or the anti-hero or the guy who's fighting against the big power is successful?
Because the big power is the actual evil.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the simple story of, look at the big organization that's doing all the bad stuff or tricking people or lying to people. It's like, oh, wow, you're right. They're
but
lying.
That's Satan, not God. Satan builds the control tyranny for you, about you. God wants you to mature.
Okay, here's a great donation from Thomas the Anne Frank Engine. Thank you, sir. Once again, a schizo post, but with agnostics instead of Jews. All right. Also, if there were the intended messages, they were lost on me. I learned from Truman, gaslighting is cool. Adam and Eve, women ruin everything. And from Ralph, property damage is cool.
Property damage leads to jobs because somebody has to rebuild it.
Yeah, the broken window fallacy.
as China knows very well. Also, the socialist Jews, which don't believe in the Abrahamic God, they do seem to be Gnostics while claiming that they're non-religious. So,
oh really?
That would be that there would be something there to argue.
Oh dear. Well, I don't think the concept of
that's a rabbit hole. Holy shit!
Being against a religion doesn't make you religious. I don't think she'll grasp that idea very well.
Oh no, it's also by the socialists. It's also a fake claim because they're not actually against religion, or they'd be against a certain other religion that they are very keen to protecting and pushing.
They're essentially replacing religion with their own. Yeah, that's what.
But they're pushing this other religion that's setting our churches on fire.
Oh, that's a different story. Yeah.
Yeah, but if they were actually against religion in general, they would also be against that one, but they aren't.
I wish...
And that is revealing.
I wish Canadians learned that lesson about 6 years ago. That would have been nice.
Yeah, and it's pretty much the same thing as this whole thing of, oh, we are for women's rights. By the way, do as we tell you. We are for gay rights. By the way, do as we tell you. We're against capitalism. By the way, in the workers' paradise, you're chained to your workplace. If you need to take a break, there's a shit bucket beneath it.
All right. We are 2/3 done.
This truly is for trying to make everyone follow the instructions.
Hey, everybody. You don't know me, but I'm on TV, so you can trust me. This is Emmett. And he was just like all of you. A face in the crowd, following the same instructions as you. All of you have the ability inside of you to be a groundbreaker. And I mean literally, break the ground. Peel up the pieces, tear apart your walls. We need to fight back against President Business's plans. Today will not be known as Taco Tuesday. It will be known as Freedom Friday!
You have the power to be your own God. You don't need God. Freedom Friday. And on top...
That is a gross exaggeration of what that was trying to say. You don't need your God? Are we equating the character, the villain in this story as God? Why?
The whole thing is that the bad tyrant is equivalent to the demiurge, which is the jailer who keeps you jailed up in this material prison that you are to escape by becoming a god yourself, by realizing that you are actually a part of God, but some cut-off thing that needs to return to God, which basically you do by nirvana. That's the proper way. While the Gnostics want to do it by seizing power and doing this very magical reality replacement spell, in which they believe that you can change physical reality by just thinking really hard. And if enough people think the same way, then it happens. Which
Remember,
is why thought
it has
crime.
To be all people. It has to be all people.
Which is why thought crime is punished harder than real crime under the socialism, because you're not being of the same thought as the regime that breaks the magical spell that summons utopia.
Outside of the Buddhist association with Plato's allegory of the cave, where you're enlightening yourself by choosing to escape, by choosing the truth, however minuscule it might be, or at least
you're not choosing. It's not choosing to escape. It's a long path of arduous work that leads there,
which is a conscious choice. There. You have to consciously choose that escape. You can't just like, hey, the truth, whatever, I'll just go that way because it looks cool. No, it's like, no, I need this to be true because that's what it appears to be, and you pursue it. So you are seeking enlightenment. You're trying to remove these shackles of ignorance and obscurity that the cave is keeping you in.
And you can't do that with pure reason and just, somebody told me the enlightened truth. That's not how it works.
Yeah, so whatever she's doing here with a religious vibe, I'm just like, you could explain this a lot clearer with other analogies if you want to go that route. Not whatever modicum of allegory she's applying to Gnosticism. I'm like, yeah, not really. Doesn't quite line up.
Remember, she did not come up with this herself.
Yeah, I know.
She saw this from some other person. So that basically means that she saw something and thought, hey, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And then went with it without thinking.
And made a video, yeah, exactly.
Business in the movie claims that if you don't follow the rules, then you are going to be put to sleep.
Hi, I'm President Business, president of the Octan Corporation and the world. Let's take extra care to follow the instructions or you'll be put to sleep.
Again, portraying God as this evil dictator, and it's just no good. Another perfect world.
No. That's the usurper. That's Satan. You are living not in God's kingdom, but in Satan's kingdom in this case. This is the tyrant we are to fight.
Yeah, it's this authoritarian regime of business, I guess, and that's it. It's not God.
Doesn't fit within her thesis.
Yeah.
Her thesis is bullshit.
Yes.
Free guy. Our Sophia character saves the day and wakes him up.
It's because why? Because she has a vagina. She's the Sophia. What if it was a male?
Originally, the woman wakes up the man by being vulnerable and in danger, and that's how the man realizes, danger exists. I don't want the woman to be hurty because I like the woman. That's how it usually works. Not by, the power girl tells me that I'm in the Matrix.
Mundane, boring, perfect life. But our Sophia character gets him to put sunglasses on that help him live more free.
Look, I don't have long. I just took you hostage. There were 3 badges on me.
The badges? Is that like a Girl Scout thing?
There is something inside you guys.
What? I don't want anything inside of me.
I stuck you in a bank and expected you to just follow the rules and do the same thing every day. You are so much more than that.
Which in this movie, free means stealing cars and riding around with someone else's wife.
He's one of the sunglasses people, and the people who wear sunglasses are heroes. That's not even his car. Or his wife.
Ugly Dolls. Same plot.
It's another awesome day here in Uglyville. Grab your shoes. Time to spread the good news.
Never heard of this.
All the dolls that are created in the factory are supposed to be perfect, but the defective ones get thrown down to Uglyville. But Uglyville looks so colorful and fun. They are trying to make their way to the Institute of Perfection, where everyone worships the most perfect guy named Lou.
Who's Lou? Were you born yesterday?
I know you're home to go to the big, you know where. And
I think that what she mistakes is that. So this is the tyrant here is a narcissist. He's outwardly perfect, or wants you to see him as that, but internally he's shrewd and decrepit. That's usually the case. That is not a description of God, of virtue. That is a description of sin. That is the immature tyrant. That is the devil, Satan, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
this is the bad guy, and he's depicted like the bad guy. He is depicted like the snake. In a way, like
if we want to
snake.
use the vices, what is it? Pride, one of the deadly sins. So we can use religious allegory properly for it to make sense within the context of the story. You wouldn't just start supplementing that or eliminating that and putting your own religion on top of that and going, well, this square peg fits in this round hole, okay, therefore it's going to be God. You're like, no, that doesn't make any sense.
Wisp, what were the two, the major...
The square hole.
No. The things was in Buddhism.
What?
So the different ways of kind of going through life.
Oh, you mean the Hinayana and Mahayana?
Yes.
Yeah, one is for the immature with your 10,000 rules, so that you don't mess up and basically cause harm to others because you are not sharp enough to get it. And Islam is basically only Hinayana. That's its problem. That keeps people down. It forces them into that by saying that if you don't follow every stupid rule, like which foot to use to go into the bathroom first, which is taken from Hinduism, you're a sinner. You're a bad person. So, but that only for a specific type of people. For the people who have self-actualized, who have matured, you rather use the Mahayana, and that allows you a measured approach because you can self-regulate. The Hinayana is for people who can't self-regulate, for immature people, for narcissists and psychopaths, if you will. It's also for whom we have all these penal laws. They're not for good people. They're so that we get a grasp on the few, the tiny 2% of bad people that are around. And but here I wanted to say something else initially, and I forgot what.
Well, what you just described sounded like a religious turn on Confucianism, which is a series of social practices and beliefs that...
Confucius came a couple thousand years after all of that, but okay.
Well, ethics and other stuff like that. But yeah, it sounds like this is the right way to live, and you have to do it this way. And
there's a thing. There's an important thing to say about Confucianism, and that is that there's the stuff Confucius actually said philosophically, and then there is what the state made out of it, and what the Chinese live. This state Confucianism is almost the opposite, or basically a perversion of what Confucius said and wanted and described.
I remember those stories from my brother's wife, and because she was her dad grew up in China, and all the stories that they talked about and why he left. So yeah, no, it's interesting to see what how government or those in control would use even religion to manipulate people.
It's similar to the Christian problem where it led from Adam got put over Eve, so men rule always and women must always obey. So this extreme interpretation. That wasn't the entire intention there. And as well with state Confucianism, it's men can be virtuous leaders, should aspire to that, and so on and so on. And state Confucianism, I'm paraphrasing a lot here, state Confucianism made out of that, your firstborn must be a boy. And so all the firstborn girls are thrown into the gutter, literally, to this day. And that is also why China, under the one-child policy, had an even greater population collapse than it would have had from a one-child policy to begin with, because if you dispose of a lot of the girls that are firstborn and instead have way more boys than girls, then your society is even more effed.
All right, we got
that's kind of meh. But
minutes.
this is how you get from bad interpretations of religion and philosophy to real crap and tyranny.
4 minutes left, and she's just ripping right through these movies.
Here to try to earn your ticket there. Better listen now or you haven't got a prayer. Got to measure up or you won't get eternal bliss. Most exclusive club that you won't in, or you'll end up in the overside.
So in short, she mistakes God for the devil, and therefore hates God because she thinks the devil is God.
In Gnosticism, or her interpretation of Gnosticism.
In general, because that seems to be the spin she's putting on everything.
I mean, the point that I was actually leading into with the whole Hinayana Mahayana thing was that she basically looks for, you could say, order, even if it's false, and claims that this is a good thing. So she wants the rules and they always be obeyed and all of that.
Oh god, so she's the worst kind of fundamentalist extremist.
I guess.
Yeah, it seems so.
But I'm sorry I missed the first part.
It's tough. It's a tough watch.
And air is so gray and boring, but all perfect and uniform. Perfection is made to look boring. Heaven is made to look boring. By the end of the movie,
What's wrong with... I'm not saying that's what she believes is good or bad, but what's wrong with that?
But here's another thing where she is mistaken. Order is not necessarily boring. Look at what the Soviets did with their commie blocks. Everybody's at least heard of the term. These concrete mega block houses for hundreds of apartments. And China is chock full of them, and they're placed way too close together and way too high. That is order, but it is hell, because it is brutalism. Brutalism is a very orderly style of architecture that kills the human soul. You cannot tell me that is in any way divine. It is rather the opposite of it. If you live in a brutalist town, you want to delete yourself. It kills any drive, aspiration, will to live. And that is why, personally, I believe, if there is such a thing as hell, the architecture down there would not be the spooky gothic stuff with gargoyles on top that we usually see when we play games like Diablo, but rather, down in hell, we would find brutalism. We would find these ugly concrete block things with all these edges that you hurt yourself on.
Basically,
and the
everything that is
bureaucracy.
currently built.
And yeah, a horrible bureaucracy. If you will, heaven might also have a bureaucracy and order, but it would be nice to look at. It would be efficient. It would be humane.
Okay.
If you walk into a
They
church,
defeat
it's also
and all the
orderly, but also intricate and beautiful.
and all the perfect people get brought down to Uglyville, where everything is chaotic and all the houses are tilted, and they slap paint on their faces and have so much fun living lawlessly. Aladdin. When you look at the prophecy of the book of Revelation, you will see that the church, the body of believers, are called the bride. If we are the bride of Christ and he is the Prince of Peace, that makes us...
What?
Yes.
What's happening?
Why is she talking with this anger in her voice?
Yeah, I mean, everything I said in the beginning, that she basically looks at only the surface and just goes with it, is fulfilling itself.
Am I to believe she's a Christian?
Is she trying?
She portrays herself as one.
Is she trying?
She doesn't sound like one, and she doesn't look like one. If we're being
she's
honest.
a dumb Christian. Let's give her that much at least. She has some intelligence. But to connect this with Aladdin, Aladdin is an offshoot, I guess you could say, of... actually, no, it's not even an offshoot of 1,000 Stories from Scheherazade. It's sort of in that setting, though, where you have all these Arabian-style architectures and settings. I don't think this is even remotely close to what the creators of Aladdin had in mind with a musical animation or a Disney film.
I think that what she's bringing up here is the very stupid thing, because with the Revelations, any kind of interpretation you should be very careful with it.
Well,
because
she should go.
You can ascribe so many things to these.
Yeah,
that it's just not healthy to use this as a concrete proof.
Yeah, she should go to a Talmud class and listen to all the various arguments and interpretations of that, and then go.
Are those held in English?
Well, I hope if she could learn Jewish or any kind of Jewish script, Hebrew, yeah, any kind of that, she might get some better understanding of what the Book of Revelations and all that was about. But yeah, this is not like, I know I say as the video goes on, things get worse. I don't even know where she's going with this.
Well, if she ever wanted to understand the Book of Revelations, well, she would need two things. First of all, knowledge of the Old Testament, and second of all, Greek, to read it in the original.
Yeah.
Old Greek.
Yes.
Difference. There's also Old Hebrew. There's also a difference.
Yeah.
And the rule of thumb for anything Revelations or similar is you don't really understand it until it happened.
Yes.
Okay, let's try. I'm gonna rewind it just to grasp what she's trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
Have so much fun living lawlessly. Aladdin. When you look at the prophecy of the Book of Revelation, you will see that the church, the body of believers, are called the bride. If we are the bride of Christ and he is the Prince of Peace, that makes us a princess. And Disney has all of these princess movies.
What?
And many...
Stop it! Stop! What are you doing? Don't...
Stop with the stupid...
There's so many words thrown together. And she's...
Oh God, she needs tinfoil, literally.
That was like 5 seconds of insanity.
So this is okay. She is a grand example as to why women should not be preachers.
Yes.
Well,
women should not convey religion. These are the people who look at funky rocks and go, oh, they're magical. Let's charge them up with the other magic rocks and meditate with them so that I elevate my spirit body and travel to the happy place.
So, just to reiterate...
And remote heal your cancer. Trust me. Please pay me $200.
Because people who believe in Jesus are the bride...
Yes.
And Jesus is his nickname is the Prince of Peace.
Yes.
Therefore, we are princesses because we love the Prince of Peace, or Mary. And as a result, Disney has many princesses. Therefore, they're all religious allegories. Because
did she just make the princesses gay?
I don't know what she's talking about.
The friggin' princess is gay.
What is
theoretically the idea behind all of that is, the idea of soul, of the spirit, and that being kind of, put in the feminine way. But the whole thing is such a huge stretch here that it's insane. Because she posed all of this as a fact. If you listen to it back, though, if the body of believers is the bride,
yeah,
and if the Christ is the Prince of Peace, And if then we are the princesses. It's all
What?
of this is a fact. This is as Wisp said, it's a magical thinking that
It's this
basically has no place.
silly word association between descriptors of titles. And you're like, that doesn't mean anything. Just like,
Yeah. And to what the get in the chat, he says something about the gargoyles on old buildings and churches being mockeries of evil. Not just that, they are to actually capture and entrap little evil spirits and demons in order to use them against the other evils, to keep them away. So there's more belief about those things than just that.
That's interesting. Yeah, no, there's all kinds of wonderful imagery in Christian mythology and architecture, etc., that you can see where they come from and why they originated and why they're so adopted these days, or used to be adopted. What she has done is, you could do it on a piece of paper, and if you want to follow that syllogism, you can. Like, Bride of Christ implies, yeah. Sorry?
There is a thing here. It's not you should do it on a piece of paper and then think it through before actually speaking.
If you actually put it down on a piece of paper and make it not just as plain text, but actually some logical picture diagram things, you figure out whether what you thought in your head sounds totally sensible is actually full of holes.
Oh, you can
only figure that out by actually putting it on paper.
You can make a madman's ideas seem perfectly logical, even when you write it down in formal logic. You can do that. But if you don't take a step back and look at the paper and go, wait a second, this means I'm a religious nutjob who wants to murder everything that I disagree with. Or
that's the next step. So you have several levels of reflection. Writing it down is the first level of that helps you to actually see what you believe and where your mind just made weird jumps, because internally, in your internal consistency, you don't notice that about everything you believe.
Yeah, and
if you write it down, you notice, oh wait, there's this. Why did I get from here to there? There's something missing here.
And I'm sure there's all kinds of allegories with not only religion but other stories that you could say, oh, this is similar, maybe not inspired, because obviously the creators of these Disney films didn't have exactly this story on their minds. But I'm sure we can draw some similarities to other stories. That's totally normal. After all, Disney films are based off other mythos, so that's totally normal. But what she's doing is, because we know she's religious and her channel is about religion, she's just going, I see the world through this lens that I invented because I love Jesus, or whatever her thoughts are. And she's doing it to this wordplay that is so unintelligent. I don't want to say stupid, because there's something there, but it's just so silly when you hear it.
I would say that anyone who has and engages in this kind of YouTube channel, making stuff like that, is the kind of mega church Christian.
Oh, it's worse than that. It's much worse than that.
Yeah,
at least
I know, but the basis for it, I would say, is the mega church stuff.
Yeah, this is the kind of person that would start a mega church.
This is the person in their own room who doesn't get enough reality, or is so happy in their own worldview, they don't need anything else.
Yeah, where does her anger come from?
I'm not sure she's happy.
She is super angry. And this I think what may be at play here is that she looks for a justification to let her anger out at people she can hate.
Maybe. I see it no different than any fanboy of anything they like, and they're just stuck in that little perspective. And the difference is the fanboy likes the one thing for the thing it's worth, not life is my religion, or my religion is the life I see. So the person who loves the video game or the book series, they know it's a book series, and they go, yeah, I really like Lord of the Rings, and I see Gandalf and my old neighbor and blah, blah, blah. It's like, that's fine. That's cool. You respect people for being different, and you compare them to things that are similar. Great. Not, Disney princesses are really just the bride of Christ. You're like, what? What are you talking about? Anyway, we are almost at the 2-minute mark, and I think we're almost done with this.
I've
crazy.
one issue with something that what the EGAT said, and I'm not questioning the factuality of it. He says the bride of Christ is a metaphor that describes the church body as bride of Jesus Christ. The trouble I have with that is that thereby the church puts itself onto an equal level with Christ instead of beneath him, and therefore on an equal level with God instead of beneath him. And that, I think, is a problem.
The whole thing, okay, so how do you understand this word church in here? As an organization, or
in this sense, I usually we understand it as the organization church.
Okay, so as I got written it, I think that this would mean more as people making the church rather than the organization itself, as this is how it is, I would say, usually done. But it is very prone to kind of confusion mistake. The idea about church being the bride of Christ, it is brought in a lot in the prophets, with the idea of the bride being bruised and battered, and the groom actually coming and pulling her out of the misery and all of that. So this is kind of the idea of the endless love and all of that.
So there's a lot more context to that.
That he will make you anew and all and stuff like that. So there is a lot of context that makes this whole thing very prone to misunderstandings.
Okay, so it's a very large metaphor that thereby she is using wrong.
Yes.
See, I would expect something like this from not a Jordan Peterson, but someone who's studying world religions in university, but they wouldn't go this far. So in such a brief way, they would make an essay. They would write a thesis. They would have a 200-page essay or paper on allegory and meaning and references, and try to show the similarities as you would talk about archetypes and patterns in storytelling, and using religion as an influence, not as the cause, not as the basis. That's silly. You just talk to the creators, say, hey, Disney people who wrote and created this piece of work, what were your inspirations? What did you do? And you go, thank you, have a good day, and you report on it, and that's that. That's not what I'm talking about. But she's just going like, yeah, this is exactly what it is. And you're like, tough sell, honey. Anyway, let's get to the 2-minute mark and see where she goes. Hopefully she's going to sell something so we can skip ahead.
Many of them have the same theme. A king wants his daughter to marry the prince, but instead, Jasmine falls in love with Aladdin, who is a thief. He literally hands her an apple and takes her away from the palace, singing a song that says, I can open your eyes. Guys, I can't unsee this. He continues singing that he's taking her to a whole new...
They're literally flying in the air on a magical carpet.
Yeah, because she's in a palace. She lives the palace life.
She's stuck. She's trapped. He's saying, look, I could free you. What?
The princess allegory is about living in a golden cage, which you could say that could be Eden in a way. But now who's Sophia? So Aladdin is now the woman?
If we were to give her Here with 1,000 Faces, she'd be like, oh my God, this whole concept of a journey and escaping the world of knowing or the boundary, and then going outside the boundary, and then,
to grow up.
It's like, have you ever read a book that has a journey story? Like, this is the same thing. It's not a religious allegory.
Well, and it's the main story of humanity, because it's the story of growing up. It's the story of every adventure. And her having a problem with this means that she is the one who wants to keep us in the golden cage, which isn't possible because we will grow up. We have to, or we die.
And if this is how she sees the Genesis story of always like the only story of maturity and getting out of it and getting out of birth and adolescence, great. But you can't just keep falling back on that one There's so many stories, so many mythos that do it clearer and better to you to be even more accurate to this sort of story and it's still a story for kids. It's not some grand concept.
Well,
not some difficult thing.
Considering how she saw the commandments, I guess that she is one of those people that think that, she cannot fully fulfill them, so nobody else must also not be able to. So everyone must be subject to these rules and never break them.
Yeah, but even with the Aladdin story, who's the villain? The king for keeping his daughter safe? The Aladdin for wanting to free her and love her? Or Jafar? I'm not...
It's the classic narcissist... What you described as the classic narcissist problem. Because she feels she has to cut everyone else down so that nobody's better than her.
Well, that is kind of what I think is happening here, unfortunately.
Well, she's associating the villain as God, and God is evil in the Gnostic view, right? So is that Jafar? Is that Aladdin? Or is that the king? Which one is it? I'm not sure.
I think she means Jafar here, but she is completely disregarding the obvious manipulation that Jafar is doing and all of that.
She hasn't talked about it yet, so maybe she's not going to.
World with no rules. No one to tell us no or where to go. Aladdin's best friend is a shape-shifting genie who is a demon. You never had a friend like me.
No, he's
Pocahontas.
A shape-shifting genie who was a demon? Why is he...
He's a genie, not a demon.
How is he both? How is he a demon?
To her, she is a demon because... Yes, because he is a magical... Yeah, he is a magical being and therefore a demon.
Yeah, so she has the Islamic view on demons.
Wait. So, okay. Who's Satan in the story of the allegory again? Is it the genie or is it Aladdin?
Aladdin is Sophia.
Yes, Aladdin is Sophia,
okay.
Genie is the accessory. Is the devil.
Okay.
And we are Jasmine because she is the bride of Christ.
Oh God.
Who is Aladdin?
Forgot about that.
Who is the devil? Oh, see, we have the inversion. That's why she is pro-Islam, because Islam also plays this inversion that our Christ is actually the Antichrist, and their Christ is a different Christ who comes down, who is actually the Antichrist.
If I were to have this in my writing circle with my other friends, that we'd be laughing at. This would be so stupid. We'd be like, "What is this nonsense? What is going on? It's a children's story."
We are trying to unwind the shit.
Yeah. But look, she is the kind of person that really makes you go, religion is bullshit. Let's just do away with all of it because it produces people like her.
Can you imagine going on a date with her and she starts talking about children's shows? Like, oh yeah, I'm into kids, I'm into family. It's like, oh, that's nice. That sounds great. And she's just going on and on about like the devil. And you're like, whoa, what are you talking about? Oh, Disney films are really for the devil. Like, what? I gotta go.
From Trump derangement syndrome.
No, this is different. I think this is very different than that. I'm not sure what this is. I just think she's gotten bad ideas from some other YouTuber and she ran with it without understanding exactly what that guy was saying. Maybe that guy's got a better interpretation that at least is more intelligible. This is just so surface level. You're like, honey, what are you talking about? You cannot summarize a video or a story of an animated film within 10 seconds and for us to take you seriously. This is not how it works.
It gives me the impression she never looked outside the Christian Gnostic thing.
Yeah, well, I'm sure there's a lot more to it too.
Same thing. Her father wanted her to marry that chief guy who was so serious.
But he's so serious.
But instead, she falls in love with the thief, also filled with witchcraft and sorcery and talking to the spirits. The Little Mermaid.
It's not witchcraft, that's animism, you numbnut. You slanderous woman.
Oh dear. Here we go. One of my favorite animated films of my childhood. Here we go.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Yeah, you're right. 2 minutes.
That's the crazy minutes.
Yeah.
And the crazy minutes.
Rebels from her father's rules and rejects living in the perfect world of Atlantica. Her father, the king, was keeping her from the outside world where her true happiness was. This topic fascinates me endlessly because...
Oh, no, I get it. She hates her father. Who's keeping her, like, look where she lives, this beautiful, clean place with a beautiful, clean, expensive sweater and earrings and the perfect, expensive makeup on her oily, dark eyes that seems soulless.
She wants
to get out of her father's grasp.
She stopped the analogy.
Can't because then she'll be poor.
She was going to... I hope she was going to continue the analogy because she didn't finish it as far as I understood it. She is, okay, she has paradise, but she's going over here, and then boom, she stopped. I could talk about this endless. I was like, no. Finish what you were going through, and then analyze it properly. It would not take that long to explain what exactly you're trying to say, nor would it require other film. This is just like this other. No, they're their own thing. And if you want to compare it to other stories, you have to use proper tropes, proper archetypes, proper patterns of storytelling to understand why they work the way they do. You can't just say, you're escaping paradise because you're rebellious, and that's the sign that Gnosticism is in the story. It's like, no. There are patterns for a reason. There are rebels in a story for a reason. You have the place of normalcy, and you escape it for a reason. Why? Give us the answer. It's we already mentioned it, but she doesn't know that. It's frightening how ignorant she is and how much evidence she was given. It's like, do you understand the story of Snow White or any of these kids' stories? What they're about?
Somebody needs to take that hammer away from her because she sees nails everywhere.
Yeah,
She is not wise enough to wield this hammer.
Unfortunately, the hammer are the rose-tinted goggles, and she's smashing them against the table, like, and her forehead is bleeding, and she's smashing every freaking movie with her forehead because God compels her to. I don't know. Think this way. Forehead? I don't know. I lost the analogy, but either way,
God made me do it.
I must believe in Jesus. Devil. Oh God. Anyway, 2 minutes. Here we go.
Once you see this, you can't unsee it, and something that I really...
Yes, you as a blithering fool. That's how we see, honey. You see...
could just learn more.
Yeah,
then you will unsee it because you will realize how wrong you were. If you are capable of admitting that you were wrong about something,
there's...
what is the last thing you admitted that to in your life?
There's nothing wrong with admitting you're a foolish person or you're wrong because you lose nothing. You're born human. You start off ignorant. You go through this phase of rationalization called stupidity, and then you die. It's a very clean, straightforward process. Everyone is either ignorant or stupid in some capacity, and she is just so excited because she loves Jesus or whatever her religion is.
Oh, but Smut, you do lose something when you admit that you were wrong. A little bit of your overblown ego.
Oh, you mean people who go through the process of education do that every day?
No, education doesn't necessarily do that.
Well, it questions your beliefs.
Reflection does.
Yeah, but you don't just go to a library for hours on end every day to learn knowledge. You actually break down what you think so that you could take in new knowledge and interpret that.
This is a very idealized take on this.
Well, for her, yeah. But that's what she should be doing. She should have gone to school if she wanted to study these things and not study media, but study world religion first. And then maybe there's an analogy. Maybe these holy books are all just allegories. Maybe there's something to learn from these messages, these ethos, these ethics that were ancient but still relevant for some reason. Maybe some of them aren't, but that's what she should be focusing on. The messaging, not whatever allegory she's connecting. This is like looking at a crazy person with the red lines through the connections she's drawing. And I know I say this a lot about the female YouTubers. They draw all these connections where there are none, or there shouldn't be. And that's how their brain operates. And I don't want to say that with her, because I don't think she's doing that specifically. I think it's just a lack of understanding. So,
smart. Alternatively, you could just be a young woman who looks halfway decent, go on YouTube, ramble schizoid nonsense, and get 230,000 viewers.
Exactly. This explains what she's a cute girl, and she believes in the Lord, and therefore
So she claims.
I think she does.
Since she's inverting everything, I believe her Lord is a different one.
I do think she does, but in the usual mega church way, unfortunately. So not in any deeper level.
Yeah.
I believe she is the Gnostic without knowing it. At best. That's the naive interpretation. Because that's how she talks.
All right. Well, we're almost done, so let's just keep going.
Wonder is if these producers are intentionally doing this, or
No.
they have no idea that they're being used by the spiritual world to carry out
The what now? The who? The who's doing the what to the what? The spiritual world is influencing Disney producers in 1970, 80, and 90 to make Disney films for kids that are Gnostic in nature. Are you okay?
Maybe now you could argue they are, but back then,
ancient 50s, 60s, Sound of Music, all the classics. Yes, I'm sure there was a religious slant, not inherently religious, unless you're talking about one of the main characters is a nun or a priest. But no, honey, you are reaching very far.
the devil. They secretly plant big seeds in the minds of children and unbelievers who don't know God to make them turn from a God that loves them, convincing them subconsciously that Satan is the.
Are we in the early 80s with what's his name reading his or listening to his records backwards with
Yes. Ralph is Satan. God, holy carpet fire. The hero of the story.
Rob Zombie. Are we doing the inquest with Rob Zombie again? And all the Christian moms are attacking him for killing or comic books or any of that other jazz? Do video games cause violence? Like what is happening?
That's what people like her believe.
Like this is the mentality that we've dealt with 20, 30, now 40 years ago.
Yes, and then it shifted onto the left, that belief that, the video games make you sexist and racist.
I guess that if we were to actually go back in time in history and look for some other sources, we would find very similar things happening throughout the years.
It's always been there. It's a specific mentality that believes in this nonsense and I think projects it onto everyone because it works on these people. They're very emotionally impressionable, so that when people like her, Christian moms, like SJWs, see, for example, violence in a video game or a movie, they get the violent urges. When they see something sexy, then they get the urges. And so they project this inability to distinguish between that and themselves onto everyone because they can't imagine that anyone functions differently than them, and that's why they want to ban everything that makes them feel bad or violent or anything.
I'm getting a clear vibe. This is a lack of maturity, not intelligence. She could learn properly, but she got the wrong information from someone else, and she didn't understand it, but she thought it made sense, so she ran with it, and she made this video.
Well, Whisp, what was it? That the women do not get any emotional maturity?
A lot of them don't. That is the problem. And that is why the left specifically targets them, because they're more easily held in emotional immaturity. So they can be more easily emotionally manipulated. And that's the entire democracy trick of the left.
All right. Okay. One more minute.
Fun, cool, good guy. And God is the bad guy who is full of rules and commands. Yeah, I just saw this was a cool video to expose how the devil is so sneaky and how he uses
The devil. What does that mean?
Of course, she would find her own video cool.
What does she mean, the devil? Does she mean that she thinks like media is bad or Hollywood is evil? Is that what she...
It's the idea that people behind this whole thing, the
animators?
No. It's the overall idea of people being at constant war with the devil. Which,
okay.
Look at it from the very, very far away perspective. Yes, theoretically you could agree to that, but the way she is going on it, it's the devil is in the material world and he is scheming against the good Christians, looking at how to destroy them and all of that.
Yeah, and here's the thing. The whole narcissism thing is just emotional immaturity, which is people stuck basically in development, which is because they don't reflect. She needs to reflect more. The Buddhists meditate for that reason, and there are similar things in Christianity, although meditation doesn't speak against it, if you'd ask me. And that is something that she would need to do, which is looking inward. That is basically all that is in the end. And thereby you will grow, because you will see your ugly inside. The word sin, at large, if you do this etymological rabbit hole dig, it's absolutely mind-boggling. Sin, in the end, only refers to ego. That is the world of sense and emotion, and to overcome it is to be able to emotionally regulate. To not just give in to your petty animalistic drives. That is, and that's how you get to virtue. That's overcoming that. The devil, your sins, is just your ego crying, I want. That's in you. That's not out. That's not some god out there necessarily telling you, you must obey every of my rules. That's just to help you along to not shoot yourself in the foot, because you still need that to walk.
I think she's probably the best candidate I could think of, at least this year, obviously the year just started, for Peterson's Academy. Jordan Peterson's courses you could take online now.
What would she do there?
She would because he likes using religious symbolism and allegories, she at least would be able to respect that. But actually,
she could just start just watching his series.
Right. Yeah.
That is free outside.
Yeah.
The Peterson Academy does have a good course on narcissism.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Psychology, religious studies, political stuff. I'm sure he'll talk about Nietzsche or Jung at some point.
The problem I have with that is that I don't yet see how studying Nietzsche or narcissism helps a narcissist get out of narcissism. Because the narcissist doesn't think of himself as having a problem.
I don't think she's that immature. I just think she's immature in general and doesn't read enough. So
yeah, smart.
But she's getting a bit old to get out of it. That's the problem.
I would also argue that if there is no change on the inside, no matter the amount of knowledge, you will just be using the knowledge to the same thing that you were doing. You will just take what you're given, twist it in a way that it fits your worldview and all of that, and then use it that way, instead of actually reflecting, as Whisp said before.
I think
that is the most important thing she needs.
Well,
I don't know what her age is because there's this range between 16 and 25 where it's really hard to place a woman, which is why you ask for ID when she buys cigarettes or alcohol or wants to get into a club, depending on your country. But if she's closing in on 25 and she's still like this, and you see this frame here that we're pausing on, that is a very smug, emotional tyrant. If she doesn't outgrow that soon, she'll be that for the rest of her life.
Okay, well, I'm sure she's happy because she believes in Jesus every day, and that's all she needs in life. But I would recommend a bit more maturity, and I think a Peterson lecture or 5 or 20 might help her out. Anyway, we're almost done.
The media to carry out his wicked agenda, and for you all to be made aware of how sneaky he truly is. We need to be really careful about what we watch and protect the children in our lives.
Are you saying we shouldn't be watching Aladdin or Wreck-It Ralph?
There's demons in it.
I agree with the overall point, but not in the way she is making it.
She watched Wreck-It Ralph 30 times. She loves it.
Yeah.
So
but it's an evil story.
Yeah. What should we watch, Disney or not? Which ones are good? Tell us.
God, don't never show her Kubo and the Two Strings.
Well, there's plenty of films I don't think she's ever heard of.
Like Krul.
And I'm glad that I know that our God is good. And
oh boy.
And how does that manifest? How is your God good? Does he just allow you to do whatever you want?
Here we go. My God is the good God. Okay.
At a party, there is nothing good. No one is good except God alone. And I can't.
This is a wonderful excuse for herself to be flawed and remain flawed forever. Because, well, if only God can be good, then there's no point trying to be better in any way. So I can just remain a sinister asshole. And it doesn't matter on which frame we pause, she looks like an evil asshole.
I don't mind people quoting the Bible, but not to justify. I'm not even sure what she's justifying. Like, what is she saying?
Only God is good.
Only God is good, so therefore what?
That therefore I am not good.
Does she understand?
Be good.
Yep.
So it's okay that I am a sinner, that I am flawed. I can remain a piece of shit.
Wait.
I can be mean to others because
Wait.
I'm not God.
Is she saying that about herself?
Bible can be interpreted, unfortunately.
Or is she saying that about the films she was talking about? Meaning, yeah, they're flawed, but we can still learn something from them.
No, she's talking about herself.
Well, no, but she was saying that the Wreck-It Ralph, the first one she talked about for about 10 minutes, she loved the film. And then she watched this other guy break it apart, and now it's different. It's like, okay, is it a good film to watch? Is it a good film to learn from? Is it a good film for kids? Like, what is it good for?
Of course not, because you have to watch out for the kids and protect them from the evil messaging of the devil.
If you watch it backwards, upside down at night, it says, eat your mother or something.
Well, say what you want, but playing certain songs backwards really does sound very demonic. But yeah.
Yeah. Stand on your head and chant to Allah. Yeah, I'm sure it'll
I mean, it doesn't matter whether I play Arabic forward or backwards, it always sounds demonic.
Okay, all right.
Eternity and to be completely rid of the sin that has caused me nothing but pain, hurt.
What did you do, honey?
What? I need to hear that again.
Okay, this is fun. This is the main part of the video as far as I'm concerned.
The way she's speaking about it sounds like she feels hurt by someone.
She did something, and she's scared about coming out, so she just generically talks about how being a sinful person.
Did she put her hamster in the microwave?
Ooh.
Well, let's let it play for a bit instead of just pausing all the time.
Glad that I know that our God is good and that apart from him there is nothing good. No one is good except God alone. And I can't wait to spend eternity with him and to be
Whoa. What? Everyone's evil except God. So
how are you gonna spend eternity with him if you're not good?
Yeah, and look closely. Look at I have to show you this. Look at her mouth when she says everyone else is evil. No one is good. No one is good but God. Look at her mouth specifically when she says those words.
That I know that our God is good, and that apart from him, there is nothing good. No one is...
Apart from God, there is nothing good. Nothing.
No one. Like, look at this when she says no one is good.
So wait a second. Does this apply to like the universe? Like everything?
She's justifying herself not being good. That's why she says this.
Yeah, because the actual thing to say is that apart from God, nothing is perfect.
Yeah, but
not
also
good. Perfect.
She mean she also makes these meaning jumps in meaning all the time. So she also goes about ethics and morals. And virtue. So nobody is virtuous but God. You could also interpret this as.
Which implies that when God created everything, everything was evil.
Yeah, so God makes everything evil. But isn't this the Gnostic belief rather?
It sounds very Gnostic to me.
Because in Gnosticism, the material world, that's the flawed evil shit. While God, all the good stuff is outside. She is the Gnostic, and she's trying to tell us no, Christianity is Gnostic, and all these movies are Gnostic, and I am actually the good one. So she is the devil who's trying to deceive us.
You see, it sounds
exactly
like
what the devil do by pretending to be the good guy.
It sounds like before we had written works over, or at least the Old Testament, this is what the Gnostics were arguing when they were reading these parables. They were like, wait a second, if this is what you mean, then something else is going on here if this is true. It's a basic logical puzzle of saying, well, if God is all good and he can only do good, where does evil come from? And this is the constant argument we hear from these religious types.
Yeah, if God can only do good, then he can. Then why would he create evil in as the whole world? That would also not make sense. So
well, she hasn't defined.
Here and everyone here can't be evil.
She hasn't defined what the devil is aside from it being a he, and he's sneaky, and he tricks you into doing stuff. And I'm like, okay, is this a force of nature? Is this a group of people in media? Is this?
No, it's God's counterpart.
I know, but I just want her to like zero in on exactly.
She mistakes
well,
one for the other. She mistakes one for the other because the Mr. Businessman in the Lego movie is the God you should submit to.
Well,
that actually evil, that ontologically evil man.
Did she say she can't wait to be with God in the afterlife or something weird like that?
Yeah, which my response was like, how can you be with God for eternity if you're not good but he is? Oops.
She's a God orbiter.
Like I can't wait
she wants
to
be the
die.
Electron around God.
I can't wait to leave my mortal coil and be in paradise. It's like, okay, that's a bit fatalistic.
Well, if she was a guy and said this, she'd start a suicide cult.
Well, theoretically, when you read some of the Paul's letters, one of the things he says that as long as we are on this earth, we are the pilgrims far away from God and stuff like that. And he also says that he wishes he could be with God, but alas, he has a mission. So until that mission is fulfilled, he is on Earth. And stuff like that. But the way she uses it is, well...
Yeah, it's the obsessive, I want it immediately kind. And that's why I said that this is the kind of personality that would start a suicide cult.
Okay,
I want to be with the aliens.
Let's try it one more time and rewind it.
Might as well, yeah.
And look at her mouth when she says this everyone is evil or bad.
We need to be really careful about what we watch and protect the children in our lives. And I'm also just so glad that I know that our God is good and that apart from him, there is nothing good. No one is good except God alone.
This except God, when she said this except, her mouth goes up into this askew smile.
Apart from him, there is nothing good. No one is good except...
Here, the left side goes up. It's over already, and it's this triumphant thing. No one is good, and this is her justification to be an asshole in life, because only God is good. So she can be an asshole. She can stray from being good because, well, how could she be? This is an evil little woman. This is a little sadist. I promise you.
Except God alone. And I can't wait to spend eternity with him and to be completely rid of the sin that has caused me nothing but pain, hurt, and shame. The eternity.
See, this is what this is actually the Gnostic mindset.
This is
Gnostics
scary.
Gnostics believe they cannot, or rather, they do not want to overcome whatever sin they have accumulated. You could say karma. Because that's how the Buddhists look at it. They work on themselves. Gnostics just want to leave this mortal coil and thereby be uplifted by outside forces, so others do it for them. The spiritual forces do it for them and uplift them out of it, so that they then are removed from their sins. The sins remain here, and then they are then uplifted to be celestial pure beings. This is a narcissistic, Gnostic little brat. She is of the devil. She is of the devil.
It's a very
she is of the devil.
It is a very egotistical thing to say. I know that this extreme thing is this extreme thing. It's like, wow, that's a lot to say. And then it's enough to say, I can't wait to die. And you're like, whoa.
She has gnosis.
It's like, I believe so strongly in the afterlife, I can't wait to die. It's like, honey, can you imagine going on a date and like, hey, what do you believe in? I believe in God, Christianity. Yeah, that's good.
I heard Canada helps you with that.
I was gonna say, you can't wait to die. Well, you can do it yourself.
It's like I'm looking for a person of faith. I'm looking for someone to start a family with, whatever. And she's like, well, I can't wait to die because I love God so much. You're like, what? Excuse me.
Maybe. Well, you can do it yourself. How about that?
It's the strangest. Like, imagine my friend introduced me to this nice young lady. She's very religious. Like, oh, that's great. I like religious people. Let's talk to her. And she's like, I can't wait to die. It's gonna be so great. You're like, wow.
Well, then why haven't you done it yet?
I'm gonna pay for the bill. I'll be right back. You just like leave.
Then why are you still here?
It's a very like. Can you imagine having just something? If a priest heard this, and this lady said that, like, well, okay, we're gonna have a little chat. Okay, just sit down. I'll be with you in 5 minutes, and we're gonna talk to your mom or your dad, whoever you got. We're gonna have a 10-minute chat.
It depends if it's a priest or a cult leader.
Any priest who hears this would be very, very scared and careful of what to do.
If you need any explanations why Buddhists believe that women in general do not achieve enlightenment, look at the screen.
Okay, we have 20 seconds. Here we go.
That is offered and available to every single one of us. God bless you guys. I'll see you for our next video. See ya. Hey guys, what's up? Thank you so much for watching today's video.
Okay, we're done.
More videos to help you grow in your faith with Jesus. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and also that notification bell so you are notified the second we post a new video. And I will see you guys in the comments.
This is the kind of person that makes someone who starts actually reflecting go away from the faith completely. Because he sees people like this. They see people like this, and then they think, all I believed is a lie.
Something is off with this girl. I just don't know what.
Her picture here on this splash screen scares me. The eye on the right side, her left eye, is a bit too open. You see too much of the sclera around the iris, and that is usually a bad sign. These are crazy eyes. They're not super prominent crazy eyes, but they are crazy eyes.
All right. Let's stop talking about her appearance.
You know what? If Cyrek was here,
this is an actual giveaway.
Yes.
All right. Here we got memes going. God, they still eating ass Angel, yes. God, send the plague. All right.
Send the plague.
Oh, boy. Veggie Tales facts. How to eat pussy in a God-honoring way.
With a spoon. Yeah.
Context is a bit lost on me, but let's don't know how this conversation started. All right, how to absolutely destroy
these two.
Please tell me this is not a video. This is a joke.
By the way, very important. These are not natural blondes, as you can tell by their roots.
Oh yeah.
And the interesting thing is there are studies about intelligence. Natural blondes are actually 1 or 2 IQ points more intelligent than the average woman, while all the tropes about the jokes about dumb blondes seem to be true about the ones who dye their hair blonde. It's very fascinating.
All right, when you unplug all the noisy beeping machines in the hospital and everyone starts sleeping better, why do I fix everything I touch? Har har.
That's context is just the fact that Felix's hammer can only fix.
Yeah. This film invented gaslighting. I love Truman. No, the movie Gaslight from 1944 did that.
Yeah.
No, the theatrical play from 1954, I believe, did that. The movie's based on that.
For
1944. Sorry.
When my wife tells me to stop injecting black tar heroin?
I saw the wrong number.
What is black tar heroin? Is that
Hey, look, if this relationship's ever going to work between us, I need to feel free to party with a bunch of strangers whenever I feel like it. It's from the Lego movie.
Gentlemen, it is with great regret and displeasure to inform you that women...
Yes.
Q Stan Lee, enough said.
Oh boy. White people's Black Panther? No.
What?
No.
No.
I don't think so.
Go that far, even though
it's equally dumb.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, it's not a horrible movie, but it's definitely dumb.
And no harsh chemicals? I will watch that later. Dealing with the devil. I don't know what that is. All right. I will watch that later too. Yeah, all these videos, I don't know how long they are, so I don't want to risk the ire of YouTube or any kind of copywriting. Anyway, wow, this could be our new Maggie May Fish.
Oh yeah, we need one.
Oh no.
We need somebody. We have too many people on the blacklist.
It's definitely different, but holy crap, is it stupid?
I mean, then again, I mean, Maggie herself isn't on the blacklist. It's just that she has no more short videos.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that if you were to watch another one of her videos, you need to get Cyracon.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
You need to get Cyracon.
Yeah.
He's good. Okay. Well, if you guys want to recommend some more from her, I'm up for it. These are very, I wouldn't say childish, just immature. They're just silly. And she said some really crazy things there that I think are very similar to the videos we used to watch. It's not offensive though. I'm not like, it's just dumb. So
it definitely gave some Maggie vibes there with some of the
ideologically opposite, but she's so buried deep in it that
it's the schizo associations.
Yeah.
Takes feel just as hot.
The brain is, or the female brain is connecting all the dots that don't belong. It's funny.
Yeah, they are all dots.
There's nothing.
They are all dots. They're just not that you shouldn't necessarily connect them.
They're just going round and round. All right. Well, thank you guys. That wasn't too bad for 2 hours, and I learned a bit some of those films I haven't watched, so that was nice. Thank you for the memes as always, and the super chats and the donations. Those are always cool. It is still freezing in winter, as it should, so keep warm if possible. I know some people are in warmer climates. Good for you, sir.
We have a wonderful icy fog right now.
I have, believe it or not, in the ravine that I live near, we have construction.
You live in a ravine?
I live near a ravine, and they've been chopping and mulching, not mulching, what's the the tree. They throw the tree into the thing.
Sawing.
Well, they saw the tree first, and they throw the tree. Wood chipper. Yeah, they've been wood chipping trees for months now. The past 2 months, even during winter. It's kind of weird. I don't know how that works when it's below frozen, but yeah,
trees.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on, and it's been happening. It's not even the public works department. It's a private company that they hired. So I don't know what the hell is happening, but it wakes you up.
They're stealing your trees.
It's the wilderness, so I don't really care. But it's just like, what the hell are you guys doing? Like you see, the random tree comes down. You're like, why did you cut that tree down? And they just chip it. And you're like, maybe they're making mulch for other people. I don't know.
Maybe you should look into that.
I should probably ask the city.
Because there are a lot of things going on where when a nation declines, people start just turning everything into money as much as they can. In Russia, officials, town officials, have even stolen entire roads and sold the material.
Really?
That's why there are places you only have a dirt track to anymore because the asphalt was sold.
Okay, well, that's special. Anyway,
and not legally.
Thank you everyone for the suggestion. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great evening. Good night.